Everybody, meteorologist Brian Good here for the latest edition of Snow Talk, although it is more snow and ice and rain talk is what we're talking about as we head into later on for this afternoon. We've been giving you some updates past several days. This is the storm that caused all the hype last week for a lot of snow. It is going to produce a lot of snow north of here, across especially areas of central Indiana. We're going to be tracking this as it gets closer to us here this afternoon. There's a lot of factors at play. Temperature is key here at the ground and right above our heads. And it is going to vary from one end of our viewing area to the other because this is a storm that is evolving, and as it moves through, it's going to produce different wind fields across our region. So it's a very challenging forecast because our job is to cover all 29 counties. So we have to give you an overview of everybody in one segment, especially on television. We have 2.5, 3 minutes to do that. That's not enough time to really go over everything that we have happening. So we got to broad brush it the best we can to explain, but this is why I'm going to do the video blog, break it down as much as I can in detail from what I know at this point, and hopefully it'll help you guys out in planning. It's much better to do this than it is on a written blog at this stage. So let's get right to it. Just on the actual radar itself, let me take off the clouds. We don't need to see those right now. All we need is the radar. And you can see, for the most part, it's quiet right now in the Louisville area. We've got no precipitation falling. We've had a little bit of sun trying to come through these clouds every now and then. But you start to see some precipitation breaking out here across West Kentucky. I looked at it, models like the NAM, the GFS, European, the Canadian. You can't really use those at this point. We're too close to the event. There are a couple of very, very short-range models that you can use. The Shref is one, as well as the Ruck you can also use in a very short-term fashion, and all of them break the precipitation out more to the west than it does to the east for this afternoon. So I think the highest chance to see something falling from the sky is going to take place west of Louisville for the afternoon hours, and then eventually to move in by the that 4 or 5 time frame east, along and east of Interstate 65. So it's going to be area, say, from Bedford all the way down to Jasper. You'll start to see something falling from the sky here very soon, the way it's looking, and likely in the form of some snowfall. Let me take the radar over to the west. You can see the mess that is coming our way. Lots of snow coming down. Arkansas has been hammered with, more than 10,000 people without power because of ice in areas of Arkansas in that region. Very heavy snow coming down across areas of Missouri. Snow is breaking out already into areas of Illinois, and it's just plain rain and thunder across areas of Mississippi into Tennessee. That is going to be the batch of rain, by the way, that's mainly going to impact the Louisville area first for the afternoon rush is what's coming our way. You can see it surging north and to the east. The freezing line at this point kind of slinks its way to the southern part of Arkansas, goes north of Memphis, and Bowling Green now is 33, so it's just north of Bowling Green, then it kind of slides off to the east from there, and it is moving upward. So the warmer area is trying to work its way in. The big question we have is how quick is this going to get in here before this south wind will really take over from the atmosphere aloft, and that's what we're going to have to fine-tune for this afternoon and have a debate on. It's going to be a big race as it comes through. Here are the latest alerts we have in the area. We've got the in pink shaded area, we've got the winter storm warning in effect. When you got the couple counties here that we have into the blue, that's a winter weather advisory, and the darker purple is an ice storm warning. Different weather offices have issued different things, but in general, it's a winter storm warning because the idea we're going to have heavy snow found here. It's going to mix in with snow and sleet in southern Indiana, maybe a little bit of freezing rain, mainly freezing rain and some sleet here across our northern counties along 64, and then mainly a period of freezing rain and plain rain for our southern counties, and just flat-out ice storm developing from Caroline County all the way up to Cincinnati. So you can see the different types we're going to have from one end of our area, and just plain rain, by the way, for Adair County. So we've got a wide variety of types we have all over the area. So we're going to need your patience here this afternoon. We're going to try to cover everybody that we can as things develop, and your reports are really going to help us out when it comes to the type of precipitation you're seeing in your yard. If it's raining outside, the easiest way to see if it's freezing rain is look at tree branches, your bushes, or even the car. See if the raindrops have froze to the car or not on the windshield, on the sides. If they have, you've got freezing rain taking place, and that'll help us out. So let us know if you see that. If you see little pellets of ice bouncing on the ground outside on your porch and your patio, that is sleet. Let us know if you're seeing that. If you see snow, obviously you know what snow looks like. And, of course, if it's just plain rain, when you touch your car is just wet outside and the mailbox is just wet, then you got plain rain and you're in pretty good shape. So What you see outside your window is really going to help us, and I'm going to do a call for reports on Facebook and Twitter kind of a little bit later on, and your reports will really help us out because all we have is the radar and the thermometers and different sites that tell us what's happening. It's you that really give us verification of what we're seeing on the ground. So, having said that, here's the latest look at temperatures right now. 30 in Louisville, 31 in Corden, already up to the freezing mark in Jasper, and 28 in E-Town. A lot of you have been talking about E-Town on Facebook. All I can tell you is the south flow is going to be strong overhead. I do think you'll have some freezing rain, but all the models do try to warm you up a little bit. But there is a snowpack over a good chunk here of our viewing area, and that is going to slow the temperature rise a little bit. But I still think, especially in Louisville, we're notorious for being the warmer spot in the region, and I don't think it's going to take much at all to get us above 32 for this afternoon. We'll keep an eye on it, but if you live within the city limits, I think overall we're expecting mostly rain. We may have some freezing rain on elevated objects, but I don't foresee a lot of major problems right now. We'll just watch it carefully because the wind is still out of the northeast. All right, you got to keep that in mind. It's a northeast flow we have right now coming out of this low pressure. That's at the surface. That's the reason why temperatures and the snowpack are allowing temperatures to be in the upper 20s, lower 30s. But above our heads right now, the winds are howling out of the southwest, and that's why it's rain coming out of the sky rather than snow here along the Ohio River and south. In case you're wondering, why is it that we're 30 degrees or 32 later on, and why isn't it snowing? Well, it's because the snowflakes are melting because there's so much warm air being blasted over our heads. Now, across areas of southern Indiana, there's actually a northwest flow that's kicking in because the way the low pressure is tracking across our region right now, you're getting the northerly wind. So that's why we're going more for snow in this area of our viewing area because you've got cold air aloft and at the ground. The snowflake will survive all the way to the ground. So heavy snow, potentially several inches of snow, more than a half a foot, I think is certainly reachable in areas of Bedford and Seymour, and then a little bit lighter amounts from Paoli to North Vernon, but still decent snow event for our northern counties there to northwest of Louisville. But again, the way that low pressure is tracking at this point, the southwest flow is going to be very dominating across areas of our viewing area, especially along and south of the Ohio River, and that means sleet and freezing rain will be the main issues for our area. To break it down for you, show you what I'm talking about, look at this map. It's kind of sideways. Say this is Louisville, Kentucky over here, and say this is going to be Bedford and Seymour up here. If we had to look at this situation from south over to north, all right? So look at it that way. In this area, later on today, we have potential to be down or above 32 degrees around Bedford and Seymour, below 32. And you see how the snowflake will actually melt and then freeze. Once you get into this zone, you get more of a sleet pellets that hit the ground. In this case, if the warm air is thick enough, you get the raindrop goes all the way to the ground until it hits the house. But in that point, the house is in the below 32 zone, so the water droplets freeze to the trees, freeze to the house, freeze to the roads, the grass, the trees, everything, bushes. And then all the way to the western Indiana, the snowflake forms, but it never goes above 32 all the way down to the ground, so it stays a snowflake all the way to the ground surface. So that's how the atmosphere is shaped across the area, and we'll break it down for you. You see below 32, snowflakes survive. If you're in the zone here where it's above 32 and below 32, then you get that sleet that comes into the area where the raindrop will fall, and then it will freeze into ice balls. And then across Kentucky, northern Kentucky, it's raindrops into the very last minute, and then it hits that 32-degree or lower air, and then it actually will freeze on anything it touches. So in case you're wondering, that's the profile we are looking at here for this afternoon. So here's Futurecast. It points out snow breaking out this afternoon, as I mentioned, in Indiana first. Moves into Louisville. Notice the temperature this time. The model is saying 33. It's going to be a close call on this. We'll watch it carefully. It still stays around 32, 33. We could go to all rain. We actually are going to warm up a little bit toward midnight. So if we may have freezing rain early this evening, but there's a better chance to go all rain late evening toward midnight, in fact, in Louisville, because the flow of the southwest flow gets stronger later this evening than it does early on. So this is going to be a flipping forecast back and forth between different types, and then just some snow showers and flurries as we head into tomorrow. I hope I made sense on all that. It is very complicated sometimes to explain these because a couple degrees difference aloft and at the ground can make a complete difference in what you're going to get. But I've explained to you what to look for out your window and how you know what you're getting in your yard, and then let us know, and then that helps us out and better analyzing the forecast. I do not see this being a 2009 ice storm. This is not a 1994 type of a setup either. I think overall this is going to be a situation where it could be dangerous at times around the area. So just stay off the roads. Let us keep an eye on it for you and let the road crews do what they got to do. And hopefully we can get above 32 in many spots. And if we do, we're going to be in good shape for a while tonight. So stay tuned. We got much more coming up throughout the afternoon. Lots of updates on Facebook, Twitter, and on the blog.